Yes, yes, I've just started recording. Okay, can everybody hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, perfect. We're going to start off with who are we? Yes. So, Success Within International is a faith-based organization with the principal aim of igniting the success power within people, emphasizing, like with the emphasis on youth, right? So, what is our vision? Our vision is to raise people of outstanding success for global relevance. So, as somebody will always say, we're not here to raise local champions. In everything that we do, in the programs that we push out, in the initiatives that we do, we are focused on raising people of outstanding success for global relevance. So yes, we're going to just quickly talk about our core values, right? So I always like to do this fun game to see who can remember our core values. And maybe we can just quickly show what those core values mean to you. So anybody, just if you can remember any of the core values, there's an acronym, very nice acronym for it. Speed.
I would start off with excellence. And for me, it's a sweet core value, but it's also a personal core value. And it's also one of my family's core
Okay,
values.
not to
And
waste too much of our, like I said, we have a very lovely acronym to explain our core values. Spirituality, synergy, passion, exemplary lifestyle, excellence, diligence, discipline. Meaning that in every member of SWI, in the programs that we exhibit, you will see our core values, just speaking so loudly. Spirituality, you saw that at the beginning of the program, we started with worship, we started with prayers, right? Synergy, what makes this program here today? A lot of people have come together, work together to ensure the progress of this program. Passion, people in SWE are very, very, very passionate about SWE and everything that they do. Excellent, in everything we do, we try to be excellent. Discipline and diligence. So quickly, we'll just talk about our mission, right? So our mission, one, first of all, is to help nurture youth for creativity and excellence. So if that is something that you align with, definitely you're in the right place. What else? We are also here to teach youth God's way of success. Yes. And another thing is we're also here to help youth discover their talent and purpose. So if you are new trying to figure out yourself, I always say try and find yourself, try and place yourself in a space where that will help you to ignite, the important questions, asking yourself the important questions that will help you to discover your true talent. Then again, we are also interested in raising an army of people who would take over the economy positively, right? And then we also want to help people to ignite their potential. So this is SWE. You are welcome. If you're new, if this is the first time you're joining any of our programs, we're happy to have you here. And we are focused and we want your growth and your success. So we're not wasting too much of our time. We're going to move on to the main session for today. And we have Ore on the call, Ore Shonibare. He's the co-founder at We Create. I've actually been watching him for a while, and it's just amazing to see how I've seen his business, grow excellently, and even in this economy, be able to maintain a sustainable business and still keep up that quality as well. So, Aura, you can unmute yourself. We're happy to have you here. And
Yeah, hello,
yes,
can
so
everyone hear
the
me?
mic is over to you.
Hello, can everyone hear me? Hello, I want to
Hello,
confirm
Aura.
double confirm. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Hello, everyone. I'm here with my co co-speaker. So just want to introduce him so that if you hear any background sound, he's the one that is providing ad libs. But yeah, really happy and glad to be here. Thank you very much for the invite. This is the second time I'm here, and I'm very glad that you guys invited me. My name is Aurelio Sherman, and I'm turning up my video now so that my CMI is not. get people's attention. So yes. Okay. Can you hear me? I want to confirm.
Yes, but
Yeah,
your voice is a bit low.
it's a bit low. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Is it better now? Okay. Let
It's
me
very,
put that. Can you hear me now?
yes,
Is
we
it better
can hear
now?
you.
Is it better?
Yes,
Yes.
it's a bit
It's
better.
a lot better. Okay.
Yes.
So I guess this is how I would. Yes. So we are good to go. Yeah. We're good to go now. Everybody can hear me.
Yes, we are
Yes.
good to go.
Fantastic. Yes. So my name is Arolo Ashinbar. I am co-founder, CEO. We create. We basically help companies to connect with audiences socially and emotionally using gifting, customized gifting, merch items. Merch items meaning t-shirts, tote bags, um, t-shirt, tote bags, water bottles, phone stands, just name any functional and useful promotional item. We basically provide that for a range of customers in different sectors. Currently, we've worked with, in almost 8 years of existence, we've worked with over 500 startups and companies across Africa. And all of this started basically because two people that used to run a business in or run initiatives in Covenant University and Bowen University decided to start a company after leaving school. So when I got this invite, I was like, okay, yes, this is something that I would definitely want to talk about, which is passion and profit. I really want to appreciate the organizers of this initiative. I've followed you guys for a very long time. And I really like what you guys are doing. I think it's very important. And the consistency is quite impressive. I'll always be happy to come and speak. And thank you very much for this opportunity. Yes, so let's get into the meat of the day. So basically, we're talking about turning passion to profit. Now, I just want to put a disclaimer. You're going to be hearing me explain a lot of misconceptions here and there about profit or passion, and basically just take you on a journey of what is feasible and the places that passion plays a part in making profits. So first off, I think the first question that we'll just ask, as we typically do in every academic academic place, is first let's define what profit or passion is. And basically, if you check what profit is, okay, yes, profit is basically, in different terms, one, you can call it like advantage, an edge, a good difference, like difference between your cost and your selling price. That's the general use case, but in this context, it's going to be a bit broader, which is why advantage is a place. So has its place in this conversation as profit. So if you say, what is the profit that you make in your career? Like you make progress. Progress is profit. In business, profit is, in this context, is profit. That's financial gain, the difference between the amount you earn and the amount you spend, basically. And when you understand that, that is very important as we go forward in this conversation. And then the second aspect is what is passion. Now, passion can have many, there's the direct meaning and there's the indirect meaning. There's the associated meaning. But passion basically is strong and what people would say like a controllable emotion towards a thing or an idea or a concept or a career or a business or just name it, anything. You can be passionate about anything. You can even just be a passionate person generally. But passion primarily is just that strong and what you would call like a drivable emotion
So something that can push you to action. And when you think of profit and you think of passion, for a very long time, our generation is one that is passionate. I can remember, like, 2, 3 years ago, the Sorosuke movement, like, speak up. And we're very vocal, we're very passionate about different things. I'm sure there are people that are passionate here about football, people that are passionate here about music, people are passionate here about fashion. I'm passionate about different things. I'm passionate about many things. Faith. So passion, like, is something that everybody is about something. Let's just put it like that. Now, misconceptions about passion. Because of how passionate we are as a generation, there are some, would I say, expectations we have or meaning we draw from passion that isn't really the place of passion. So, for instance, how people can say, like, whatever you're passionate about is your purpose. And that train of thought is sort of connected to how, like, we say that anything you are doing, you should be passionate about it. So, like, if you want to pick a career path, you should be passionate about it. If you want to start a business, you have to be passionate about the business. If you want to, like, passion is basically an expectation we have of everything that we want to do for a period of time. We expect passion to be at the center of it. And while this is true, it's not totally true. Like, it's not always the case. And I think as we go deeper, you understand what the emphasis I'm trying to make. So people believe that passion equals purpose, and it's like a subconscious belief. Like, oh, if you're going to do something for such a long period of time, say like a business, if you're going to successfully run a business, you have to be passionate about the business. You have to be passionate about what you're selling. Like, if you're not passionate about it, so that's one side, and the other flip side is if you're not passionate about it, don't do it. And that is. Hello, can you hear me? Hello? I think somebody's mic is on.
Yes, we can hear you, Aura. We're going to meet the person. Sorry about that.
Okay, no problem.
Already. Sorry about that.
Okay. Yeah, it's fine. Thank you very much. Yeah, so it's like if you're not passionate about something, don't be involved. If you're not going to give that, if that thing doesn't inspire passion in you, just be careful with it. It's probably a short-term thing. Like, whatever you would do for the long term, you should be absolutely passionate about. And that is where the extreme comes into play. Because generally, because of the concept that passion typically stands for, like, it's a strong, actionable, driving emotion. So because of that, there is a sense that, oh, it is a key ingredient for everything. And while it's a key ingredient for some things, it's not the key ingredient for everything. And also, in another context, passion is not purpose. Like, a car is a good thing to have, but a car is not everything to have. And as we now try to link passion to profit, we will now get how passion isn't necessarily what we generally associate it to be in the context of making a profit, or in the context of building a great career, or in the context of building a great business. Passion is, in summary, let me just give you the end point at the beginning. In summary, passion is more of an entry point or an entry bait than it is a multiplier. Like, passion is not what takes you. Passion is what brings you in, but it's not what takes you up. And it's important to understand this from the beginning as we try to use passion for what we need to use passion for. So the key to a car starts a car, but it doesn't drive a car. And you have to know that after you have put on the car, there are other things you need to do so that the car can move. So the car is on, but it doesn't mean that the car is moving because it's on. So yes, so let's get to the next thing. So why is passion so so important, or why is it something that is so strong? I think the truth is passion, because of how strong it is, it's a key ingredient for overcoming tough times. So like if you start a business, I'm sure there are people here that have businesses, side hustles, or even a career. And then, or even let's just talk about like being students. Everybody here has been to school at some point. And you know, there's that period in school when you're actually tired. It's like if I can just end this now, I'll just end it. And some people in the same phase of life, these other students that you know, they almost never get into that headspace. Why? Because they love school. Like I liked school. I really liked school at some point in my life. And then there was a point when I stopped liking school. I think it was after I went for like an externship. And then I came back and I was like, guys, everything that seniors here, I know is in the outside. But I was the best. I had the highest CGPA at that point. So people were like, this boy is a scam. You don't pass. You come back from externship. You tell us everything you're teaching us here, it doesn't have the place. They say, okay, when I get my own 4.8 something, I cannot tell you, I cannot share this opinion of yours. And they were like, okay, like Orange just joking, we move. But the truth was, at that point, I realized that, okay, there's the reality that, oh, this thing that I love so much might not translate as I think it would. Not that it won't translate at all, but as I think as I think that it should or it would. And at that point, I went through what I would call realizing that, oh, this thing that I've given my all for the past 10 years of my life, if I give it my all without contextualizing what else I would need, I would have the key to a car and I won't be able to move the car. And that helped me to now say, okay, obviously I still graduated with a fantastic grade, but I just had to balance out and say, okay, when I put on this car, I also need to know that there's an accelerator, there is a brake, there is a gear, and I need to be able to move all these things around. So the truth is, passion is needed for tough times. Like that period in school when it's assignment, coursework. I just like, what is this? What is going on here? And then somebody says, I want to drop out. And I'm like, why are you dropping? And the person says, this is too tough. If this is what I'm meant to be doing, I should be excited about it. And you just see that that person has some truth, but the person has applied this wrongly. So passion is needed for tough times. Yes, like if you've ever written, like, I don't know, professional exams, whether you're a medical person, you're an accountant, you're a lawyer, you would, if you know any of people on those tracks, they would typically tell you about how frustrating it is at some point when preparing for professional exams. But at that point, the passion, the reason why they started, the driving force that led them into getting into that career path, they go back to it and say, remember your why. So that's the general notion when people say, oh, passion is so important because it keeps you going. Passion, it keeps you on your feet because, wow, you're excited about this thing. But the truth is, there is an element of truth in that, but is it all about that? I like what one of your key values here is discipline. And I think that, yes, passion is key, but there are other things that sort of would help, which is like discipline, endurance. Those things also help in trying times for you to stay the while and for you to do the work and for you to say that, oh, I've decided to do this and I will go through with it. So passion is needed primarily, but passion is not always needed primarily in every context. So for instance, let me use my story for example. Whenever I tell people this story, they sort of don't understand how what I was passionate about led me here. So I was passionate in 2014, 15. I was passionate about writing. I used to write poems. I used to write love poems. I used to write poems about just different topics, independence, financial diligence, stewardship, just many points. I used to post on Twitter, then I used to just share because like I really like writing. I really love literature. And my passion for literature led me to start posting my poems online. Now, the good thing about passion, the primary thing about passion, is that passion gets you to act, which is what is the key element of passion and why it is the best thing for an entry hook. That you would definitely act on this passion and do something with it. Now, whatever action you make because of this thing you're passionate about will do you good. But the extent of good that it will do to you is not because of that passion. So like I started writing poems, started posting poems, and I liked it. Now at that point, people were reading my poems. I'll post on Twitter, people like hundreds of people would retweet, people would drop comments. My God, I really like this. Your writing is so good. In fact, interesting fact, that was how I met my wife, because she's also a poet. And she said, oh my God, I really like the way you write. Let's just say that after I met my wife, I stopped writing. So I don't really know. She has not thought about that, but I guess once in a while we talk about it, like, you don't write again. And I'm like, I hope that you do not think that I would keep writing. But yeah, that's just a joke on the side. But yeah, passion pushed me into writing poems and posting them online. Now, at the point where I started posting them online, I started improving how they were presented. So that was how I got into graphic design. So I would design a poem and put it on like a flyer, do a cover, do the body image, cover, design both, and post on social media. So I started improving on the presentation by doing graphic design. And I liked graphic design. It was good. It wasn't like it was easy, but it was good. And I learned a lot from just being able to present something beautifully. And then after I kept on posting, I used to post twice a month. And at a point, people started saying, oh my God, can I get this on a t-shirt? That was how I dabbled into printing. That I had an initial passion for writing. And that passion for writing led me to write. And then I started sharing. And then just a diligence to do better, to improve on something, to make it better, to the people that are reading it, to present it better, led me to actually start posting my content on the internet. And then because, okay, people now said, I love this so much. Can I get a physical representation of this? That was how I got into printing. Now, in this story, am I passionate about printing? Not really. I stumbled on printing. Why? Because I was passionate about something else. But one thing that passion does, like I said earlier, it gets you to act. But there is a point where you go from being passionate to being strategic. So passion is like I said, entry level. But what takes you up is not just passion. For instance, I think a good question to just ask is, how many passionate billionaires do we know? How many passionate millionaires do we know? How many passionate, how do I explain this? How many passionate leaders do we know? When I mean passionate, I don't mean passionate as far passionate by branding or passionate in the, I wrote in my book, I don't mean passionate doing the extra time with a 3-goal lead. I mean passionate like from kickoff. And the reason why is because everybody doesn't have just one thing that keeps on driving them throughout their journey as they become great people. It's not just one thing. It's hardly ever just one thing, rather. It most likely is one thing that keeps them, that makes them start. And then they continue following the prompts that leads them to a bigger platform, a bigger point of execution. Like nobody is passionate about something that is absolutely at scale from the beginning. Like Mark Zuckerberg was not passionate about getting billions of people on Facebook. So we're just passionate about people first and tech. And he started learning more about tech. And then after he learned more about tech, he stumbled on a problem that he thought he could solve and he built a platform for it. Now, that's different from just being an enthusiast. It's different from just being a general, I really like this thing, I have a strong desire about this thing. It's more than that. And this is very, very important because what it does is that it helps you to crystallize like what your game plan is. Now, in my story, what led me to take an action was just writing. Now, writing brought me to printing. Some people, that's a very direct thing, but when I tell you the story, you're like, oh, interesting. And then I did that for 2 years. I did that for a year. Then I was in class, and then they said, oh, hey guys, we have this project, and there's an assignment for everybody in the class. And they said, oh, we need to design an ad. So I studied mass communication, public relations, and advertising. And we need to design this ad. Everybody here is going to be an agency. So you're going to come up with a copy that will help you market and convince this hypothetical customer that is I think it was a construction firm. So do an ad that helps this company to grow and da 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 da. So that was the general idea of the assignment. Now everybody now said, I need somebody to help me design this. And that was how I started designing for people. I remember precisely how much I collected. It was 500 naira for 500 naira for what? For a design. And then we were like 10 that did. And then I made my first 5,000 naira from graphic design. And it was good at the time because like that's what I would call like hobbies profit. Like something that you're excited about, you enjoy doing, and then you make some profit off it. And that is very good because a hobby is something that you do for fun, it's something that you enjoy doing. A hobby is not a career. Now, one thing that our generation sort of, I don't know how to explain it. I saw a tweet where somebody explained that one of the reasons why our generation is burdened a lot and burnt out is because every hobby now has to have commercial relevance. And that really stuck with me because like now we want to make a business of everything that we like. So we don't just like painting. We want to get paid for painting. And the truth is, painting generally is nice when you're painting for fun. When you're painting for money, it's a different thing entirely. Painting for money is work. And work is, when people say, oh, I want to do something that doesn't feel like work. Everything feels like work eventually. Whether you're passionate about it or you're not passionate about it, everything eventually is like work. Why? Because it's repetitive. You do it again and again and again and again, and that is where the work gets in because now you have to do better. Now you have to improve. Now you have to, and there's pressure because you are getting paid. So there's expectation you need to match. That's very different from painting sunsets at 12 in the morning just to look at the skies and just express yourself. That's very different. It's a different thing to sing because you like singing, and then different thing to sing at somebody's wedding and the person is paying you 200,000 naira to sing. So every hobby, in truth, that you can be passionate about doesn't really always translate into what you call a business that can make profit. Now you can make hobbies profit. Hobbies profit is where somebody just likes what you're doing and gives you some money. Now it's not that you have a target of money you want to make from your hobby. It's just that you're doing it to make some money on the side. That's what generally started out as a side hustle. People just say, oh, my side hustle is something I do on the side. As at 5-10 years ago, side hustles did not have a lot of pressure as they do now. Now, a side hustle, somebody can have an entire company as a side hustle. and the person is hoping that side hustle has like targets that you should deliver on he has to make this, he has to make that, and you just realize that that person has the expectation that is not due for a side hustle on a side hustle. And the person can make some profit, but what really helps you to go from hobby profit to actual profit is very different from the general passion point. You get, like, it's very different from the general hobby passion. It's a different ball game entirely. Like, you can make, let me put actual numbers to it. You can make ₦1 million in a year from doing something you love doing. But to go from ₦1 million a year to doing 20 million naira a year, it's a different ball game entirely. And if people that when they first, let's say there was an event, and then they said, "Oh, guy, can you do MC?" And the person said, "Oh, I like talking. I can talk to the crowd." And then they said, "Okay, no problem. We'll just give you this small money. Help us hold it. Help us do this MC." The person says, "Oh, yeah, thank you very much. I really appreciate it." Then the person that says, "Oh, I can make money from this, And the person will brand, and the person would start charging a lot more. And then the same switch happens where you go from hobbyist profit to massive profit, or what is a corporate profit. And that is it takes a different type of thing to now make more profit. So to make initial profit from something you're passionate about can take just passion, action, starting out, doing. Like from my poems that I made into merch, I sold my first ever 50 to 100 t-shirts. Now, between that 50 to 100 t-shirts and now, I've sold over 100,000 t-shirts. Was it the same thing that gave me 50 t-shirts that gave me over 100,000 t-shirts? No, not really. Not at all. If we are being honest. But like, you start to understand that, okay, there is the starting part, and the starting part can be purely passionate. But to scale that passion into more profit, now we've established passion and profit. Now we're talking about passion and more profit. It's a different ballgame entirely. So how can we make more profit? I'm sure everybody wants to kind of understand that. How do you make more profit? How do we go from that 1 million to that 10 million a year? And the truth is, 1 million to 10 million a year takes what I will call, it takes investment. Now, the truth is, once you start to invest, and it's no longer based on how you feel, whether you like it, whether you don't like it, you get into a different ballgame. Now, you see, passion is primarily needed for hobbies, not for work or career. Like, it is secondary for work and career. It is not primary for work and career. Passion is, like I said in the beginning, it's a good entry hook, but it is not the multiplier that people think it should be. Because a lot of times when I meet a lot of young people, they say, "I'm just passionate about this." And whenever I hear that, I'm kind of stuck. Because when I hear, "Oh, I'm passionate about fashion," I'm passionate about making ladies wear greatly sewn clothes. I'm passionate about, there's a disconnect in my head, because I'm like, how does this your passion translate into the marketplace in a way that you convince people from not buying from somebody else to buy from you? Because you see when I say I'm passionate and the person is charging a premium, and yes, you're passionate, but what passion should mean is not what passion is giving, which is why passion, like I said, is just an entry point. You can see someone that's passionate and try to help the person, like support the person, because the person is not necessarily chasing profit. It's just being passionate. Like, you see somebody that runs, and that's why you have to situate what passion is and how passion can translate into profit. If, like, for instance, you can give an internship to somebody that is passionate about, like, for instance, my first ever job I got, first ever externship I got, I was passionate about graphic design. I went to the place, I told the lady, I told the man, I was sending tweets on Twitter to different corporate agencies and everything. "Please, guys, I'm passionate about this. These are tiny things I've done. but I don't have this kind of skill that you need. And then when you sit down with me, I can articulate my passion and the work I've done towards it. Now, I could get an internship with that. But can I land a full remote gig with that? No, I can't. I can get the entry level, but I cannot get to the highest level with passion. So now, what does it take to go from that passion level to more profit? Now, we can make some profit from passion, but to make more profit from passion, to make more profit, it takes more than passion. So in the context of a business, for instance, one of the best things you can do is to have, now in the business context, you want your customers to be passionate people because you want to be able to meet them at the point of their need that they passionately need, that they passionately like, or things that they love, or the things that like, oh, I can't do without this thing, and you want to supply them that. You don't necessarily have to be the one that has the passion. And that's why, for instance, I said Mark Zuckerberg and a lot of other people that you know that are at the highest level of any game, they are not just passionate. They are experts. They've invested years. They've put in the work. They understand their space. They have mastery of what it takes. Like they've done the 1% work. They've used leverage to build value. They've compounded so much time and energy and focus. And the truth is, no side hustle can do this. No side hustle takes you to the top 1% of, and it's good to just situate it so that you know the point when you are at the hobbyist level, and then you know by the time you are doing, because there's this move that I know a lot of people do, where they say that I'm leaving my job, I am starting my own business. You need to know that what it takes for you to have a side hustle is different from what it takes for you to grow a business. And that's what I'm trying to articulate, so that you can know what it takes to make more profit and not just profit to start with. So yes, what does it take? It takes leverage, it takes knowledge, it takes understanding, expertise, depth, investment. It takes time, it takes focus for you to make more profits. So with passion, you can make initial profits. Like I remember the period when I went from a hobbyist or a passionate businessman to a different type of businessman, which is what I needed to do. It was 2019. We just ended the year. We made 15 million. We sold 10,000 t-shirts. Then I would say I was passionate about selling t-shirts. And I was just like gassed to be like helping communities and helping people to stand out among the others and to create value with just t-shirts. We didn't, in fact, to let you know how passionate I was, we only sold t-shirts and tote bags. People will come to me and say that I want to do business card. I said, no. That's not my passion. I'm just here for the, like, I want to understand this t-shirt thing. And I understood it, but I was passionate about it. It wasn't just that, like I wasn't strategic. I wasn't trying to make a killing. I was just trying to deliver value within this particular focus point. And that helped me a lot because why? My passion brought me a lot of understanding and expertise. And then after 2019, I had to make a decision to say, what do I need to get to the next level? What do I need to scale this business? Then we were a team of 3 people, 3 or 4 people, 3 full-time, I think, and 1 person was part-time. So like 4 people. And it was good at that state, you get. And at that point, I was thinking of turning this into a side hustle, turning week rate into a side hustle. It was like, okay, I can control this thing from I'll do something on the side. I tested the idea, it was great. But I knew that to get to the next level, it's going to take more, it's going to take a team, it's going to take a team of all experts. And that was where I teamed up with some of the best people I've ever met in my life. And we grew the business from then to where we are now. by almost what? Sorry, I'm coming. Someone's calling me. So yes, from where we were to where we are now, and it's almost like, what does it really take? And I'll make a Marvel reference here. When Thanos achieved his goal, and then he saw his daughter in a vision, and said, "What did he?" And she said, "What did he take?" He said, "He took everything." That's literally what it takes to build profit at scale. But understanding the nature of what it takes really helps. Really helps. One misconception about business that a lot of people have, especially in Nigeria, which I think is out of context, is that people think that to make more profit, they have to take their prices higher. But I don't think that it's the best way. Typically, if you go to a business school, if you go to any deep business institution, they will always tell you that the best way to make profit is to manage your costs, not necessarily to increase your selling price. Because for every price increase, there's an opportunity cost. So it's about going deeper rather than taking your price up. That's how people make the most profits. So you have to invest more so that your cost is less. And that's why you hear concepts like unit cost economics, concepts like economies of scale, because at scale, you need to have competitive advantage that makes your business more sustainable, more solid, and gives you an advantage above other people. And that advantage should not push your costs up. So a good example is getting a nice office in Lekki that costs you like a 50 million, depending on the industry that you're in. If it would mean that, your costs of what you charge your customers would feel a 50% increase, it's advisable not to do that. Why? Because you will lose your customers, even though you will gain a better presence in Lekki, and you probably get more sales. But you have to know that you have to manage the variables, and you have to be strategic. So yeah, that's the little I have to say about passion and profits. I hope with this I've been able to make like distinctions that will help you make better decisions and also not fall into the general misconceptions that people have about business. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you so much. I really love the fact that you were able to really build a lot of context and give us background to how you started. I would have always thought that, maybe you like printing, not knowing that, it started off from you even liking writing and then graphic design and, to where you are now. And I think, again, it's really important for us to even know that it's not everything that we're passionate about that we should actually turn into a business. Then we start to lose the true importance of life and just living and just doing things for the fun of it or just to, enjoy it. Like you said, by the time you are adding or you want to turn it into a business, you're adding that extra pressure on yourself to now make it perfect, right? Because obviously other people are now involved. So yes, thank you so much, Ore. So before we let you go, I just in case anybody has any questions that they would like to ask you. Okay, someone said Divine Podcast 2.0 felt like a Stanford entrepreneurship podcast. Thank you, Ore. So, Ore, from here to Harvard, start teaching in Harvard.
I'm very passionate about speaking. Now I'm going to turn it into a career. But yeah, I'm just joking. That was a joke. But yes, thank you very much. So Divine Podcast is my podcast. I have a podcast where I articulate my thoughts
Okay,
about
that's amazing.
yes. And basically, I've not yet mentioned that on this. It's about almost a 50 episode podcast at the moment. Talks about things from relationship, faith, lifestyle, just general thoughts and topics. Trust me, there's something for everybody on Divide Podcast. You can just Google my name and podcast and it should come up. Good. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Ore. Does anybody have any questions for Ore?
Yes, I have a question for
Okay.
Ore.
Yes,
Hi, Ore. Thank you so much for the lecture and also the teaching as well. And for me, my question is, how do you turn a hobby into a profit? Like a hobby that you're passionate about, how do you turn it into having profit on it?
Yeah, so I think so if you want to make a profit from a market, something that somebody said that a couple of companies in our time are trying to find the market where there's no market. So making a hobby make profit might not be the right way to go, because is there a market that needs your hobby to be paid? So is there actually something are there people that are ready to pay money in exchange for that thing that is your hobby? It's a very simple question that you need to ask, because every profit-driven enterprise starts from a problem, not from a passion point. That is the real difference. That is the real separation between profits, hobbies profit, and profit at scale. So the real question and the right question would be, what is the problem people have that is directly or indirectly associated with this my particular hobby or this my particular whatever that is? Once you ask that question, you're more likely to lead to the point of profit, rather than saying, I want to convert this my hobby into a profit making. And then you also need to understand that once you do that, the fun stops to a large extent, and it's no longer a hobby. So you've killed your hobby for profit. It's great. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. So it's all about finding the problem and going for changing from hobby to profit, like finding the problem that you want to solve.
So for somebody that, like for instance, like I'll ask you, so I am very passionate about table tennis. It's my favorite hobby. Like if there's anything I could have done aside from what I'm doing now, probably playing football or playing table tennis professionally. Now, how can I make my table tennis skills profitable? A good question is, will you pay to watch me play table tennis?
No.
Do you have an allocation in your monthly salary to spend on my desire to play table tennis? The answer is no. So do you get? And I have to.
Actually, sorry to cut you off. Actually,
Yeah.
I could pay you to teach my children how to play table tennis.
Yes. So the reason why you pay me to teach your children to play table tennis is because you have something you want to achieve for your children, not because of me. Do you get how?
Fair enough.
You have something you are solving. You want your children to do more. You want your children to be more active. You want your children to be more. So you need a teacher to teach them these skills that you would like them to have. That is the problem. That's where I come in, because I'm good at table tennis and I can teach your children. But if I'm not good at, because I can play table tennis doesn't mean I can teach table tennis. Because the ability to teach is a skill. It's not that every good footballer is not going to teach you how to play football. Ronaldo might not be a great coach. Ronaldo was probably a better footballer. Was actually a better footballer than Xabi Alonso, but it doesn't mean he'll be a better coach than Xabi Alonso. Messi is the greatest footballer ever. It doesn't mean Messi will become the greatest coach ever. And if I So you get how it's different nuances, different applications. And if you think about it from the passion point, you might miss the point and you might not be able to get it to scale.
Okay.
Yeah. You might just be able to make a hobby profit, which is like you can teach two families about one family, like one or two, about how the other children can play table tennis. But if after 2 months, the boy cannot serve, they will say, Uncle John, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And they will not call you again to come and teach you how to play table tennis. But you don't know how to play table tennis. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much, Paul and Ore. Who else has any other question? Anybody?
You can ask any question regarding anything.
Feel free.
I'll be happy to find a way to answer.
I have a question.
Serious questions, any kind of questions. I'm good.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I have a question. What would you consider to be like the excuse me. What would you consider to be like the major steps to take when converting your hobby to a proper business, like a corporate entity as such? I mean, apart from registration and all the likes, what are the major things you think should be considered that would give that from the onset, give that sustainable approach? You want to be sorry, my voice. You want to be here for the long haul, right? What are the major steps to take at the very beginning that will position you rightly for that long-term business orientation that you are considering?
Yeah, thank you very much for that question. So basically, I think one thing that I think is the most important thing anybody can do if you want to turn your business, your hobby into a business, is to map the demand. So map the demand. Ask yourself, where is the money the most? Where is the money I can access at the moment? How, like, there is money I can access at the moment. There's money that it takes a lot to access. Sorry, my senior madam will come. So there's money I can access. There's money that is being spent in this industry, and there is money that is at scale. And then you optimize for within those three variables. Money that you can, like for instance, with Recreate, when we started a company, we were still servicing universities. In fact, we started with servicing universities. They went from universities to startups started by university students. Then we stayed with those startups. They led us to other startups that are not startups that we worked with. Do you get how we started from what we could reach? If we got to the ones we want to reach. And then we just kept on that mark. And that was how we were able to now reach multinationals that had somebody in church that said, I really like what you do, you've done good work. I got my t-shirts from this unit and I just love it. And oh, come and do this for us. And that was how we kept on. But first off, know that there is people you can reach, how you can leverage the people you can reach to reach the people you cannot reach. Once you understand that mapping, you have taken the most essential step to start. Because, like, for instance, when we started Recreate, somebody was telling me, bro, have you tried printing for GTB Bank? I said, I will think about it. Why did I say I think about it? The competition that I will face trying to get GTB Bank is to take my soul before I even get one order. Do you get? Because at that point, we did not know anybody in GT Bank. We had no traction. They did not bomb me. I'm not the brother of the CEO of GT Bank. I have no leverage. So how do I think? Is it my passion that opened the door to GT Bank? And like, so that's how, and when it comes to like all this type of business conversations, I try to be as logical as possible because I don't want to leave it to chance.
I want to be able to push a domino and let it fall or 10 other dominoes, and I'll get to where I get the result I want at a less probable chance, like a very high probability, rather. So I know that if I push these dominoes, I get 2 customers at most out of 5. That type of move is what I like doing. So I don't want to make it difficult for myself. Obviously, now at the scale at which we are playing at, we have to start pushing like 10 dominoes at the same time with the hope that, a new thing falls off or a new customer comes in or something. But like, it's still the same logic. Where do you have leverage? How do you get to places you don't have leverage? And what is the highest level of business that goes on in this industry?
Thank you very much. I'm sorry, a quick one. You mentioned something, you said, where's the money at scale?
Yes.
You mentioned where's the money the most, where's the money that you can access at the moment, and where's the money at scale? Is where the money at scale is same to where the leverage is best in the industry? Is that similar?
Sorry, can you say that again? I didn't really get it.
At the end, he said, where do I have leverage? Where do I need to have leverage to hit the best profit? And then the third was, what leverage would I have? Yeah, so those last two got mixed up. And then you had said earlier that you had said, where's the money the most, and where's the money I can access at the moment, and where's the money at scale? So I'd like to clarify those points.
Okay, so there is the highest level. Like for instance, in my industry, I know the highest level in terms of volume. But that point is not profitable for me, for our business, because it exposes us to risk that we are not optimizing for. So if you want to get $1 billion as an order, just go to FMCG. It's just that they will pay you in 90 days. If you survive until that point, until the 90th day, which they might not pay you, but like, that's where the biggest in terms of volume happens, and we're not optimized for that, because it doesn't work for us. I have articulated what the highest level is. Now, what level do we play at? We work with a lot of startups, work with a lot of community-driven initiatives, organizations. What space do I have leverage? Startup space. What space don't I have leverage? The places I don't have leverage is, let's look at one is kind of difficult now because we've put leg in most of the industries, but as of a year ago, multinationals. We didn't have a lot of multinationals that we're working with. Now, not startup multinationals, but like multinationals, traditional multinationals that we're working with. And then we now have to say, okay, how can we get, what do we have that can get us into the rooms where these multinationals are? So first we map events. What events can we get into or sponsor, or find a way to get somebody see us? That's on one level. The other level is relationship. So that relationship is more interpersonal. Okay, who do I know that works in a multinational? Then I now go to church. I say, church, because church is, I tell people, I say, your church, your school, those are the places where so there's something I do that is people mapping. So you map based on the people you know, and then you try to get to the places you want to be. So school, church, those are the places where you meet the most random selection of people with different backgrounds, diverse backgrounds. Now, that is how you can get a multinational person that is, you get just randomly, you see every Sunday, but you have absolutely no idea. That is one that leads XYZ in a particular company. Do you get?
Yeah.
That is another way.
But obviously, you have to first show working. So a lot of these, they take time. Like for instance, before I could unlock and articulate all of this, I've been in this business for over a decade.
Mm.
And 10 years after I can articulate it, the steps that I take to action out might be different. Like for instance, and I'll tell you why some people say, go and do a, what's that word? Go and do, what's the thing that business people do, masters?
MBA.
Go and do an MBA. The reason why they say go and do an MBA is because at an MBA, you network easily because like everybody there is business-ish.
Yeah.
If you go for a cheap MBA, you are disadvantaged because everybody there might be looking, you know, I say you go on a ship to network, and everybody on the ship is there to network. So you're because the cost of entry is too low. so that's another, that's another thing. So you have to be, you have to do the right MBA. Some people say go to Harvard, go to all those places where you know that before you get here, you've either done business enough or you're from a very rich and deep background. And either of those people have leverage enough for you to play on. So if you people map and you customer map, you would be able to get to the places that you are not at the moment. I'm heavy on relationships, so every customer I've worked with, everybody I know as personally as possible. And even if it's for relationship's sake, I've done more things for relationship's sake than for profit's sake.
Mm.
And over the past 10 years, I know that, and as I tell people in my company, I say, a lot of things that we do and the success rates we have, it's not necessarily because of something we've done directly. Like over the past 12 months, we've worked with over 5 multinationals. I was even at one yesterday, everything yesterday. It wasn't because we sent a pitch to that multinational. It's mostly because we met somebody that likes us. We said, I just love you guys. And so you must do more goodwill. Goodwill is priceless in business. Forget all this meriting what you earn. Goodwill would open doors that you cannot pay for, cannot afford. So yeah.
Oof, thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Thank you
I
so
have
much.
Yeah?
Please feel free to ask.
I have a question. So now so it's not directly a question, it's more like my plight. And I just feel like why not just speak about it here and just hear your opinion and get your advice on it. All right,
Okay,
so
I'm on standby.
okay. All right, so so this is not really, it's not really a, let's call it passion. It's more like a problem that has been identified and proven, like the market, right? So for example, my company TechBody, what we focus mainly, we've gone around the market for the past 2 years, right? And we've come back to the basics, which is actually helping graduates, right, move from school, like their school environment, to the corporate, right, helping them pass through that clarity journey. And that's a very difficult space to be in because a lot of edutech companies have tried it, but we tend to see that they either make it a non-profit or they don't stay there for their money, right? And two major reasons, right? One, because the target audience, like, they don't have a deep pocket, and that thing we notice is that they aren't as serious as they think they are, right? But it is a problem that I'm not just passionate about, but I'm passionate about it, but also it's something that I have a deep conviction to actually do and stay on. So now my plight and crossroad is the fact that how do we cover costs, right? Really, profit is important, it's so good, right? But my own issue is the cost, right? Because I've moved from, okay, let's just do non-profit, but even the non-profit, it's not even paying so much because the people you haven't doing it for are not even taking it serious, but they cry for it, but they don't take it serious. So I'm like, okay, how do I ensure that I'm doing the right thing here, right? First to ensure I cover my costs, right? For example, now what we're doing is they pay a minimum, very minimum fee, like data fee, right? To join the boot camp. And if they want to do trainings, they then pay for the training itself in any career field, right? So do you think that is sustainable enough to cover the cost? Because I've done the calculation, and if I'm saying I want to do 20 people in a boot camp, right, because of the kind of peculiarity of the program, and we don't want a lot of people in the class, so that we can help them actually get the information where and practicalize on it. So say 1 to 20 people in the class, that 20 people plus the very little amount of money does even cover half of the fee that we pay our staff, right? So
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of okay, this is not just a passion, this is something that I've been convicted to actually do. Every time I go back to God, I just get this strong standing to like stay there. But now I'm like, okay, how do I cover the costing of what I
Okay.
am doing, even if they're paying very little? Yes, sir.
Fantastic. First off, brilliant initiative. Brilliant initiative. I think the nature of the opportunity sort of gives context. Profit in quotes or covering your costs or sustainability doesn't always come as profit like paying. And I speak this without a lot of experience because I've always worked in profit-driven organizations. Yes. Yeah, like, but if I want to just theorize, I would say that there is a place for, like, how do I articulate this? Noble causes have a way that are made sustainable, and it doesn't always come from people that are receiving the help. Think of Tunde Onakoya, for instance. Tunde Onakoya is a fantastic guy, amazing guy, doing amazing work. But the sustainability of his work is not based or hinged on the people receiving the value. So, for instance, Jobberman, which is probably the business, like I said, that in quotes at some point at scale does something similar. They don't get the money from the people that they give the jobs or the people that they aid. They get it from either organizations that have funding for these things, or they have some budget, or they can have some budget, or they have some budget somewhere for people development or CSR or all of that. So you have to sort of understand the dynamics of that space at scale to now apply to your own context. The scale I spoke about, I mapped a while ago so that I can now know where I am and know how I can navigate where I am. So because the people that are doing this thing, they receive funding. The people that are doing this thing that I'm doing in some way, in some form, at the highest level, are doing it by X type of funding. I can understand that, okay, the reason why these people are not doing it like this is because maybe it's not possible, maybe it's not sustainable. There has to be some external funding. Then when you now get to that point, you now say, okay, how can I get the eyes of the people that I need in these organizations to X, Y, Z? And then you now, on the next line, like, you know how I am solving math. You now say, where I am, where can I get these people to see me? Okay, I can invite some people, low or high, in all these organizations to be part of my bootcamp, or send them free
slots that they can send their nephews or nieces or somebody that they know to the boot camp. And because of how good I know this boot camp is, those people would tell their aunt, this absolutely changed my life. It was fantastic. And then, or their uncle, and the guy would say, almost, this is really good. Let's look for a way to support. So that is how, in my head, I would theorize that you have to people map and you have to also money map or funding map the industry and know that, okay, or demand, and just know how it works. Once you get how it works, you can try to, and because I'm articulating this like this doesn't mean it's easy. You get, yeah, it will be tough, it will be hard, there'll be a lot of no's and stuff. But like, I'm just trying to say this is how I think I would approach it. People map, problem map, demand map, know where everything comes from, and find a way to articulate it to your own context. Thank you very much for sharing that. I really like stuff like this. Like, helps me think, and I like that. Thank you very much. I hope I helped in some way, some.
Yes, I'm sure you brought a lot of clarity to people. Since Ogabayo, you can speak.
Okay, thank you, Modipe. I think the question Precious asked, I've actually been there before, so I can, give some practical insights to it. When you see the concept of non-for-profit, it basically means that you are not getting money from the people you are rendering the service to, which is what Ore absolutely said. And when you think about the concept of non-for-profit, then how do people really get the money to do those stuffs? One, look for sponsors. So when you hear non-for-profit, it's not that these guys are not well paid. For example, when you think about United Nations, United Nations staffs are one of the highest paid in the world. And guess what? United Nation is non-for-profit. So it doesn't really mean that you should not be happy. It doesn't mean that you should not drive a good car or live a very good life. Number one, if you really like your non-for-profit and you want to make it non-for-profit, look for sponsors. And you can look for sponsors globally, look for grants. There's this program by FIT. I can share it. I can share it on this group. It's basically a platform where you can learn about how to get grants for sponsors to put money into your non-for-profit. So that's the first way you can get funds. Look for sponsors, and with sponsors, it doesn't mean that you cannot get salary. Of course, just ensure that your books are very clean, because some of these people that give grants, they want to see your books, so you can put your salary and everything. That's the first part. The second way in which you can eat big is that in your not-for-profit, map your system. In that mapping, ask yourself, what part of this what part of my business can I actually turn to a social enterprise venture or a profitable venture, so that when you're not looking for sponsors, because you have no control over the number of sponsors you get, but you have control over the way you map your business. So you can map a part of your non-profit into a profitable venture, and you can start making money. Guess what? I always believe that if you are not financially okay, when I say financially okay, you have to look for a way to make money. Either go and get a job or get a profitable venture to fund your non-for-profit. I was reading an article yesterday, and I saw that if Warren Buffett was not giving out a lot of money as a charitable venture, he would be number 2 richest man in the world. And guess what? This guy gives billions of dollars every single year, but he makes a lot of money even before he has died not-for-profit. So at least be okay before you say everything you're going to do is going to be for non-for-profit. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that. So yeah, I think we can round it up here. Thank you so much again, Ore. We really appreciate your time and the words of wisdom as well.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Can just appreciate him in the comment.
I'm my assistant. We are grateful for.
Hi, assistant.
Yeah, Joshua Sistodo. I don't know if you guys heard his contribution in the background, but yeah, he was whispering stuff, I should say. So yeah, thank you very much. Also, as much as possible, if you are blessed by this, please do post on social media. I'm trying to get more visibility to. I can assure you, if you enjoyed this session, then my podcast will bless you even more. Quote. So you should
Please share if you were blessed by this, and then also, if possible, check the podcast out. It will definitely bless you. My handles on social media, AMB, full stop or underscore Ore, underscore on Twitter, full stop on IG. Thank you very, very much. I really enjoyed this. And thank you for the questions. They really blessed me.
Yes. Thank you once again, Ore. All right. So yes, I think at this point we can call it a day. Thank you again, Ore. Thank you everyone for staying up to this point. We really hope that you enjoyed this session. So breakfast meeting, we have it. If this is your first time, a breakfast meeting, we have it every third Saturday, 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. It's really just a space for us to just come and, amongst like-minded people to learn new things and, to also have discussions, right? So, yes, thank you, everyone, once again. Have a lovely day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend as well.